Hey guys, this is the play along video for Sound Innovations Book 1, page 7 for cello. So, yesterday we started with our left hand setup and we put our fingers 1, 3, and 4 with the 2 down as a supporting finger on the D string. Making sure that the wrist is nice and straight, good curve in all the fingers, no flat fingers, thumb behind the second finger, and all of the other elements of our seated position nice and tall. And then we plucked through those notes from open D, first finger E, to third finger F sharp, to fourth finger G. Today, we're going to move on to page 7. Page 7 has those same notes, but now we'll be using them in different combination. So, first thing I want you to take a look at is number 14, down, down. So, we can see right from the beginning, it says P-I-Z-Z over the top, that is pizzicato, which means that we're plucking the string. The opposite of pizzicato would be arco, with us using the bow, which isn't today. We'll do that a different day. You can see over the top also fingering numbers. So we begin with all 4, then we take the 4th finger away, and all 3, then to the 1st finger, then to open. Making sure that we are spacing our fingers so there's 1 finger per tape. Before we begin, make sure that you check all the pieces of your posture. Feet are flat, knees over the heels, knees on the back edge of the instrument just below the C bout, sitting nice and tall, back of the instrument, 3rd button, C peg behind the left ear. Everything should be nice and close in. So the first one has 3 beats of sound followed by 1 beat of rest for each time. So here we go. We'll play each example through twice. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, shh. 1, 2, 3, shh. 1, 2, 3, shh. 1, 2, 3, shh. And the nice thing about the way they've written this first example is it gives you a moment to change fingers. It gives you that beat of rest to change from the 4th to the 3rd to the 1st to the open. Let's do that one more time. All 4 fingers down to start. Remember the thumb slides up and down the side of the fingerboard. Index finger plucks. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, shh. 1, 2, 3, shh. 1, 2, 3, shh. 1, 2, 3, shh. Very nice. How is your sound? If your sound sounds like this, instead of, that simply means you need to add more weight into the fingers and press the string down harder. A lot of times, 6th graders, young players say, "But I am pressing harder and it's not working." And my answer is always the same. Even harder. Even harder. I don't want to see you squeeze from your thumb, but you can let the weight of your arm sink into it a little bit, and that can help as well. Next Next, we're going to go on to number 15, climbing, climbing. In much the same way that we did the fingerings in order, now we're going to be doing them from the bottom, from the open string up. So we'll begin with the open D string, walk our way up. So here we go. There are no rests until the very end this time. So we won't have that moment to switch. You'll have to make the switch as we play. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Shh. Good. And this brings on a skill that's really, really necessary. We need to be able to make sure that we're changing pitch without stopping what we're doing. So we don't change pitch in the first one without stopping the line. But think about if we didn't change notes in a song without stopping. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder. Gets pretty distracting, doesn't it? All the spaces in there. So we do need to make sure that we're able to transition from one note to the other smoothly. Let's play climbing, climbing one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Shh. Good, so we've come down the scale. We've gone back up the scale. Now, number 16, we're going to go down and up. So we start from the fourth finger G rather, fourth finger G on the D string, walk our way down, and then what note begins the third measure? First finger E. We walk our way back up, and then the last measure looks a lot like G and D jumps. You also have probably noticed by this point that we didn't keep the fingering numbers on this one. So we have all of the notes there, but the fingering numbers that we had from the first two aren't there. Try this one without them. Don't write them on. Here we go. Starts fourth finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Shh. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Shh. How'd that go? We'll play it again. As we're learning these, taking the finger numbers away while we continue to play them sequentially just up and down the scale can be very helpful for building that recognition of the notes on the page. Let's do that one more time. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. Shh. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2. Shh. Good. Now, the next two pieces, both 17 and 18, have something that we haven't seen yet. Some of you may have seen it through piano lessons or things like that, but we have not yet encountered it in this book. And that is a musical line that lasts more than one line. Both Jolly Fellows and Boil Them Cabbage Down are 8 measures long each. And if you take a look, there's a couple of features that we're going to need to be paying attention to. First of all, at the end of the first line, we don't have that final bar line. That final bar line has been on every one of the single line pieces. So if you look back, it's on all of them. But now the final bar line is only at the end of the 8th measure of each of these two, not at the end of the 4th measure. So that tells us we're going to keep going at that point. Also, the meter, that 4/4 time signature, only has to be listed on the first line, not both lines. Now, as we get into these ones, I don't want things to get complicated. So if you need to pause the video a moment and with a pencil write on your page some finger numbers, you may do that. But before you do that, I'd like you to think about only writing first the number over a first note of a set of repetitions. So like over the first measure, I'm not going to write 4, 4, 2, open. And do I really need the fingering number over the open string? Maybe not. Maybe I just write a 4 over the first G and a 3 over the F sharp, and I call that good. I want to, if I'm going to put those markings on there, I want to use as few as possible because I'm trying to get myself to a place where I'm not using them. So if you need to do that, pause right now and go ahead and do it. All right. With the fingerings you need, but as few as possible on there. Now we're going to play Jolly Fellows. Because these ones are 2 lines, I'm going to play them 3 times. What I'd like you to do is the first time through, just follow along the line on the page with your eyes. Second time and third time, you'll play with me. I'll do it 3 times. You'll play it twice. And the first time I play it, just follow along with your eyes. So here we go. Jolly Fellows. This is a Slavonic folk song. If you don't know where a Slavonic folk song, you might want to see Slav in there. And what countries have you heard of with Slav in the name? That can give you a clue as to where those come from. So here we go. Starts with all 4 fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now play it with me. We'll count along. We'll make sure that we give all those rests a full beat of silence. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. How'd that go? If you stumbled a little bit and you want to pause and take a moment before we play it again, that's totally fine. Go ahead and do that. We're going to play this one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, Now, before we play Boil Them Cabbage Down, take a look at this little box. It says many American fiddle tunes, such as Boil Them Cabbage Down. Sometimes you'll see this one written as Bile Them Cabbage Down. They came from the Scottish-Irish tradition. And then when those musicians and folks that knew about folk fiddle from the Scottish and Irish region came across and emigrated to the United States, then over time, their fiddle style changed a little bit in much the same way that British English became American English over time. And it turned into an American style of fiddling. Fiddle and violin is interchangeable. It's the same instrument. The difference really is technique and the way that the instrument's played. There's a lot more glissandi, where they slide on the note. The singular is called a glissando. There's a lot more rhythmic bowing. And it's just some cool stuff. If you're interested, check it out. But the Scottish and Irish fiddle tradition turned into American fiddling, and that's where Bile Them Cabbage Down or Boil Them Cabbage Down came from. So we're going to do this one 3 times as well. Before we play it, I want you to pause the video, and I want you to, with a pencil, write in the letter names of the first note of each measure, as it indicates on the page. Go do that now, and then we'll play it. All right, so you should have written F sharp for the first measure, G for the second measure, F sharp for the third measure, E for the fourth measure. Then we go on to the second line, F sharp for the fifth measure, G for the sixth measure, F sharp for the seventh measure, and D for the final measure. I'll play this one time where you just follow along with your eyes on the page, and then we'll play it together 2 times. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 4. 2, 2, 4. 2, 4. Good. Now let's play it together. 1, 2, starts in F sharp, so 3 fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, sh, 3, sh. 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 How'd that go? Do you need a moment? If you need a moment, pause it, mess around with it a little bit, come back, and we'll play it another time. All right, here we go. Playing this one more time to finish out the page. Boil Them Cabbage Down. Starts 3 fingers on it for F sharp. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, play. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, sh, 3, sh. 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 Very good. How'd that page go for you? Think about the places that you stumbled, the places you had a hard time. Those are the places that your practice efforts can go the furthest to make sure that you are keeping up and being the most skilled musician that you can be. Thank you guys. See you next time.